Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our second semi-brief chat in the 12 Days of Christmas Festival. I'm Katie, and I've got my very nice, nerdy musician mug here. I thought I'd show you all because we're sitting by the fire having a nice cup of tea, or in my case, coffee. And I'm so delighted to be doing this show today and have some of my incredible musical colleagues and friends on to tell us all about themselves and some of their Christmas musical traditions and all sorts. So I'm not going to wait any longer because you've heard me talk plenty in the past few weeks. I'm going to go ahead and bring Alva McDonough on. Here she
Hi,
is.
Katie.
Hi, Alva. Oh my gosh. So nice
Lovely
to
to see
see
you.
you.
Oh,
Look
it's
at you
beautiful to
by your
see you.
look at you by your nice fireplace.
Well, thank you. Look at you by
So
your
cozy.
fabulous Christmas tree. How lovely.
Yeah, I try. So, well, we got a few comments coming in already. We are streaming live on both our Facebook pages, Semi Brieve and Alva's, and also on Twitch. But if you have somebody who doesn't like might want to watch back, it's going to be on YouTube very shortly. Oh, Liam's watching. Hello, Liam. So feel free to ask questions. If you have questions for Alva or the other guests, you're more than welcome to come on and, type away and we'll get them to Alva. But let me go ahead and introduce her so you know who I'm talking about. So anyone who's come to any of our summer or autumn tours will have heard us play Alva's incredible work, Skellig, that she composed and recorded. And has the CD been officially released
Actually, the
already?
CD, it's funnily enough, the CD was supposed to be released in March, literally the first week of the lockdown. We were due to have a launch concert in the National Concert Hall and in St. Martin of the Fields, actually. And,
Yeah.
like everything else, a lot of good things were cancelled for the moment. But we're hoping to have a re-release. It's online and it's available on all the Spotify and all of the usual things. But
Amazing. Yeah, I've
yeah,
sent people to that link actually in
that's
our
fabulous. Keep
gigs.
sending them there.
So Alva is, as you gathered, a composer and a cellist, absolutely incredible artist, and she also teaches at of the Royal Irish Academy of Music. Right? I'm like, I
I do
always
indeed.
get the little letters confused in that acronym.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Um,
it's yeah,
Go
no,
ahead,
it's just
Alva.
so lovely. I suppose we met a good few years ago when you started a job at the National Symphony Orchestra, which I
That's
play
right.
with regularly. And what I thought was hilarious was we sat down when you were on trial beside each other, and it turns out you went to Indiana University,
That's right.
where my sister studied for years. She did her master's and doctorate there, and I spent a lot of time out in Indiana, either playing concerts or studying with the same teacher,
Yeah.
which, talk about small world. So we were
Shout
instant
out
friends.
Emilio Cologne if you're watching.
What a great teacher. But it's just so lovely to have that kind of shared experience because obviously living on an island, you don't necessarily always have the same. I went off to America and studied there a lot, and all over Europe. And it's just great to be able to share that with people who have the similar experiences. I'm sure you feel the same.
Absolutely. I feel so grateful to have friends I've met through all sorts of experiences and all sorts of places. And I should mention that you're calling into us from Dublin today.
I am indeed. How very
Yes.
exciting.
So we have people in all different parts of the world who will be joining us. Mostly in this time zone, that because I thought it was like a little cruel to make Americans wake up at 4 a.m. to
This is
come
true.
on.
This is
So
true.
so Alva
Top
has
fans.
what's that?
Top fans, if you want to wake
Oh
up at 4 in the
yeah.
morning, absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past some people. Um, so Alva is like just constantly amazing me with how much she does and her commitment to all the things, all her music that she writes and her performances. And some of the like really interesting things I think you've done this year is number one, the like absolutely huge project, which was recording all of the Beethoven cello sonatas with John O'Connor, who's an internationally renowned Beethoven specialist. And like, tell us about that, Alva.
Well, this is one of the passion projects for a lifetime. I studied piano with John O'Connor for about 15 years myself.
That's
And
amazing.
I was actually, I don't know if you know this, but piano was my main instrument for years and years and years.
Mm.
And then I just fell in love with the cello, but just wasn't very good at it for a while. And then as you know, cello sometimes takes a little bit longer for people to actually kind of find their feet in. I just fell in love with it, and in college I played a Beethoven sonata, and I studied all the Beethoven piano sonatas with John, and I suddenly thought, God, John hasn't recorded these. I would love to do these with John, but John is an internationally famous artist, and I'm still in college, so this seems a little unusual. Um, but so I approached John about 20 years later when actually, I obviously was well able to play the cello at that point, and he said to me, when are you expecting to do this? This is the Beethoven celebration year. I've been booked for hundreds of concerts to play Beethoven all over the world. And I said, I'll fly anywhere, I'll go anywhere. Just that experience it's just one of the things I'd like to do on the bucket list. And if you're free, then absolutely. So he kind of laughed, saying, yeah, well, good luck to us. Can you imagine how long that would take? And I was just crying laughing because COVID-19 happened, and he flew home for 3 months, rang me and said, I really want to do this. I suddenly have 3 months free, and I have all my concerts were cancelled during that period. Let's do it. So,
Amazing.
I mean, there's so many terrible things that happened for people this year, but sometimes out of terrible situations, glorious things happen. And, I never expected we'd have time to do this. It's come out. We're both delighted with the sound. My God,
I cannot wait to hear it.
It's so exciting to actually, even the fact that I would have studied Beethoven with John, who is, the man for Beethoven worldwide. Like the way he makes Beethoven sing is really quite unique and special. And obviously, because I studied with him for so long, we actually play Beethoven in quite a similar style.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, it's really interesting to just hear how, I suppose, unified we are in our take for Beethoven. So I'm excited about that because it doesn't always happen like that.
It's just so exciting. And it's great we're talking about this today because everyone knows yesterday was Beethoven's 250th birthday.
Exactly. It's like we planned it.
I know, but actually we didn't. It's just, we're musicians,
Natural.
so like every day's a Beethoven day, right?
Exactly. Every day this year has been a Beethoven day.
So another like really exciting project. I'm not sure actually. You'll have to give me the specifics on the timeline with this, but I know Alva is a published composer with Boozy and Hawkes, which is one of the most famous music publishers world round. I mean, I've played their editions since I was 12. So tell us about your recent release of It's a Piano Thing, and I know the cello books are coming out soon.
They are indeed. So years and years ago, I composed a lot of pieces for piano, and I had a theory teacher, actually, Miss Perry, who I have to go and see over Christmas, actually.
Oh.
And Miss Perry said to me, you were very good at writing melodies, so you should maybe write a suite of piano pieces. And just when I was a child, just went off and wrote some pieces, and she talked to me about them. And I didn't realize she was actually becoming my first composition teacher. I didn't know what was going on. I thought everyone actually did it. And then by the time I was 16, I had written a good few, and I was approached by the Royal Irish Academy of Music exam system. And they ended up asking, could they publish one of the pieces when I was still in school, which is very exciting. You can imagine at home, everybody was just thrilled and delighted with the idea. And then, like 20 years later, I had a collection. I was approached by a number of piano teachers from Ireland. So it's 40,000 students every year play in the Royal Irish Academy of Music exams. And they were asking, is there a book, is there a collection, where can we buy these pieces? And so I talked to a number of publishers, and like that, Boozy and Hawkes would have been my choice because they were the publishers that I would have known as a child the whole time. So I was delighted. They said, let's go ahead with 2 books in the series called It's a Piano Thing. And they've been going really well this year. They've just been put in the ABRSN syllabus, which is super. They're in 90 countries worldwide. So it's just great to have that kind of reach with pieces that you like yourself, So now Boozy have asked me to do another 2 books in the series for cello, also for flute, which I've just started learning. Hilarious. And also for violin. So I have one, so I might give that a go myself.
Well, we're going to have some violinists on later, so they'll have to Yeah, I know.
I
I remember I loved sitting next to you in the symphony orchestra when you'd approach me and you'd be like, Katie, no, I've got to write some cello pieces. What do you think of this? I
yeah.
won't tell them the non-PC name we came up with
I
for one of
love
the
the fact that
tunes.
you would take it. It almost made it as well, you know.
Oh,
Um, but it's very rare that you can just bring in a piece to someone sitting beside you who won't just absolutely, you know, laugh at the ridiculousness of the situation. You know, I have a deadline and Katie's trying to name it for me. It was very good. I enjoyed
I
that.
know, I know. I won't forget those things. So, since this is a Christmas talk, we're gonna ask you a few questions about what do you usually do at Christmas, like as a musician, as an Irish person, as an international performing musician.
Well,
Tell us some of the things.
you know, this Christmas is such a special time. In Ireland, we really like to go all out with the lights. You know, when you go to Grafton Street, they have everything. It just looks so magical. You've got the shop windows all lit up, and obviously for mass is a big part for a lot of people. So people do a lot of carol services and a lot of choir concerts.
Mm.
That often, you know yourself, a lot of the big choral works have cello solos or that kind of thing. I was thinking about it, and usually at this time of year, I normally do about 4 charity concerts for the homeless in Ireland.
Wow.
There's a place called Focus Ireland, or you know, there's sleep outs and things like that. And actually, it only hit me when you said, "What do you do for Christmas?" That because of this situation, you know, I can't go out and do the
Mm.
charity concerts that I usually do. So I'll have to come up with something slightly different this year, you know, to figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant. There's a lot of celebration, I suppose, when everyone's busy during the year. That old friends, sometimes I only see once a year because suddenly we realize, you know, good God, it's been a year. You know, I
Yeah.
have to actually see this person, and it's very important. There's a lot of just celebratory drinks, and you know, people in their houses having little. Obviously, it's slightly different this year. You don't see as many people, but you know, you're thinking about people. We're doing a lot of it on Zoom this year, where it's slightly more solitary in your house, but they still have the same kind of beautiful effect. So
Oh,
I just
great.
I love it. I'm sure you do
Yeah.
too.
I
Great time for you.
know. It's funny because I spent, a lot of time around Christmas in Ireland, but never on Christmas Day, actually. So,
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you were always
fantastic.
fabulous at the Thanksgiving time of year.
Oh,
So
yeah. Well, I try. I try.
yeah,
I will never forget your white chocolate blueberry cheesecake. I long for the day when I can have that again,
we
made
will
by
make it.
you.
The day you come home, we will make that again.
Oh, well, do you have? I've seen a few of our next guests waiting in the wings who I know are like really like excited to meet you.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if I said it at the beginning, but all the people who are on actually are people from different parts of my life musically, so it's really nice to
Mm,
bring everyone together in this format too.
absolutely.
Do you have any like favorite Christmas songs or Irish
I
music
do.
that you play at Christmas time? Oh,
Well, I mean, I actually happen to have my cello right beside me here.
well, look at
I
you.
mean, I don't know how that happened. So hopefully it sounds
Oh, we have
okay
a
on.
quick question, by the way, from
Oh, sure.
David A. He asks if Skellig refers to the island group Alva.
It does actually. So Skellig, as an area, obviously it was made famous by Star Wars, but I was always intrigued with the Atlantic Ocean, and I spent a lot of time going across to America from a very young age, as my sister. And I wrote the album Skellig because that was kind of a bridging place between Ireland and America. And I wrote these specifically for my sister Orla and the relationship that we have as duo players and as sisters. So we always laugh saying it's very strong, sometimes tumultuous, but really quite beautiful and magical.
Very honest.
Yeah, exactly. So it is. It's exactly that. I just think it's such a magical place. You know,
Yeah.
it's just you can't explain how beautiful that place is until you see it in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
yeah, go
So
on, tell us.
this is just a little snippet from an Irish piece that is very well known and also quite topical at the moment because of its lack of
Oh,
PC-ness.
oh,
But I will not be. singing the words to it, so therefore it's less less non-PC. But it really does this in Ireland. It's one of those things when you hear this song in Ireland, it really does start to feel like Christmas. So this is The Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues.
Oh, that was absolutely beautiful, Alva.
Thank you. I hope you could hear us okay from that mic.
Yeah, I had to mute myself, so I was like, oh, unmute. Hey, we have greetings from Mark Died. He says, greetings, Katie and Alva. Good
how
to
lovely.
see you. He's on early.
Oh, absolutely.
Early morning. Well, maybe he's not in the US at the moment.
He might not be.
So we've got a guest waiting in the wings that I'm gonna bring on so you can meet each other.
Oh, how lovely.
I'm gonna see if she's ready. Add her on. Bernice! Can't unmute because you chose to mute yourselves, is what my thing is saying.
Hi. Hi, Katie. Hi.
Hello. This is
hey, Bernice.
Nice to meet you.
Alva.
You too. So lovely to meet someone else from Katie's life and her musical career.
Yeah.
So
I guess.
Yeah. Oh, go on, Bernice. I was going to introduce you, but please.
I was going to say, so you know each other from the orchestra in Ireland, then?
Well, yes, you can watch back and find out. Alva is like too cool for school to ever have a job, basically, and too busy and important. Have a full-time job in a symphony, even though she absolutely adores playing music, and it's always been a delight to do. I mean, I've done lots of projects with Alva. I've done chamber music, I've done cello ensemble, I've done orchestra, and it's just always such a pleasure to sit with her. But let me quickly introduce you, Bernice, because we have the other guests waiting in the wings as well. Like, this is the Graham Norton moment where we're all jiving together. But this is Bernice Uy. Bernice is an incredible violinist that I've known since 2004 at our studies at Indiana. Alva was at Indiana for a summer, Bernice.
Oh, really?
Before we were there, yeah.
Yeah, I studied Emilio Cologne because my sister was actually there finishing off her doctorate at the time. So I went over to visit. It was great.
Okay. Yeah. Beautiful campus.
Oh, stunning. Yeah. And also Bears was quite a fun place as well, if I remember.
Oh, yeah, Bears.
And Mother Bears.
Mother Bears too. Those yards. I'll never forget those yards. My God.
So Bernice is joining us today from Stockholm, Sweden, because Bernice is a violinist in the Royal Swedish Opera. And she does so many interesting, incredible projects. I mean, Bernice is probably the friend I've played with and met in more countries than I can count. I mean, like Japan, Malaysia, America, England, Germany. I don't actually know if we met in Germany. I might be.
Probably not Germany. I think we were in Germany at different times.
For Oldborough, we were in Germany when we did the
orchestra. In Ingolstadt.
Oh my God, I can't believe you remember that.
Something like that. Like outside Munich.
It is just absolutely such a delight to have you here. And I'm also going to bring on our other guest so you can all meet each other. Jan, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Good. Everyone, this is Jan Malix.
Nice Christmas tree.
He doesn't want me to pronounce his last name because
on the fire.
Very nice.
Very good.
I do this every morning. I put the fire on, the lights on, and then I face the wall. I sit here watching my front door and the wall. It's beautiful.
Usually you're thinking about really philosophical thoughts of music and all sorts. Yeah, you have to say your last name for us and tell us the story before I introduce you because you have.
Don't you have it there? I wrote it there. No.
It's Malax. The banner. No.
Oh, I see.
Tell us the real one.
Malax Echevarria.
Yes.
It's a Basque last name.
And say,
Yes.
It's actually not as difficult as it sounds. It's just 3 words put together. So Echevarria is new house in Basque. Eche is house and Barria is new. And Malax is the name of a town. So if you put them all together, it's Malax Echevarria. But it's a mouthful if you say it all together, Malax Echevarria. That's why I use the shortened version, Malax.
I think it works really well with the hand motion, I have to say.
It does.
And
It's quite
leading
musical.
into, yes, leading into, it's no surprise Jan is an expert with the old delicate hand motions because he is an incredible conductor and artist. I had the pleasure to share a flat with Jan in my time in Manchester. We know each other from our studies and our work as freelance artists in Manchester, England. And Jan is managed by a Spanish agent, artist agent, whose name I cannot remember at the moment. But
Well, the manager's name is Manel, but
what's
the
name
company
of
is
the
called
agency?
L'Impresa.
L'Impresa. Oh,
It's in
such a good-
Barcelona. It's a Catalan company.
Ooh. So Jan conducts orchestras all over the world. He's worked prolifically in Europe, especially in Spain. He's conducted the Bilbao Symphony Orchestra. He's worked at the Liceo, one of the top opera houses in the world. Bernice and Jan last night when we were doing our sound check could not stop talking about opera stuff. I mean, they probably could talk. I mean, Alva and I could nerd out for like 3 hours on cello stuff, and I bet these two could talk a lot about opera and ballet and all of that experience. But Jan is just such an inspiring musician, and he has also recently started a chamber orchestra. We're trying to get off the ground. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we're just fundraising now. During lockdown, I had a lot of time to think. So this is one of the ideas that came about with a bit of pushing from Katie. Actually, I always wanted to do something like that because as a conductor, you go to orchestras as a guest conductor, and that could go either way. You could bump, or you could start a great relationship that lasts for years and years, but it's always like dating. So it's your first date with an orchestra. So that's quite nerve-wracking. And when you're a musical director of an orchestra, there's a committee, there's a management, etc., etc. So you work with what you're given, basically. But this project would involve playing with friends and people we know and getting together and all together, hopefully inspiring the audiences in Leeds. So now we're just fundraising
What's the
for
name
this
of the
project.
orchestra? Yeah.
It's called the Pennine Chamber Orchestra or Pennine Chamber Orchestra. Yeah.
PCO.
What a great idea.
Yeah. So yeah,
Well-
we're fundraising. If anybody has money for us, just bring it on.
You never know. You never know.
We'll put it
This
to
could
good
reach-
end.
We could go viral, guys. I mean, you all are such an interesting bunch. Well, I know Alva is an incredibly busy woman. She's taken time out of her insane schedule. I mean, this woman seriously does more than like anybody I know. So we're gonna let her say goodbye now. But I really wanted to bring her on to meet you both. Alva,
It was lovely to
anything
meet
you
you
want to
both.
say?
Nice to meet
or
you.
Any last
Yeah.
words for us?
So lovely to be here
Nice
with
to
you,
meet
Katie.
you.
I mean, you both know. Lovely to meet you, Katie. You spread such absolute love and joy in the world of music, and I think that's testament to all the people who are fab you brought on here today. And hopefully, we'll all get to meet in person at some point. You know, when we're allowed again. Look forward to that day.
Semi-brief party in the Northeast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Year from now. All right, take care,
It's
Alva.
great. All right.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, I cut her off.
Bye.
Right. So, guys, talk to us. Oh, I love the Christmas jumper. Looking excellent.
Oh,
And Bernice has
yeah.
got a bit of hygge going on in the background, even though you were saying that's not the word they use in Sweden. What is the word they use for hygge?
They say mysigt, and I think actually that the Swedes had. I think the Swedes had it first with the Swedish mysigt, and mysigt just means comfortable, to be really comfy.
Oh, cool.
So when you say like missbelysning, it means like comfortable lighting, like not hard white lights, but softer, like
Ooh.
glowing lights.
That's
and
like
things
all
that.
those IKEA lights.
But what I have behind me, this is I'm not sure they're from IKEA actually, but this is actually what they call an Advent Yustaka. And
Do
it's
you know
like
what,
these
Bernice?
Advent. Oh,
I'm
they
gonna
they were supposed to be candles. Yep.
Bernice, I'm gonna cut you off for a second because I think you're a bit frozen. I don't know if everyone is seeing that.
Oh, and
Jan, does she look
Yeah, she's cutting off for me as
There
well.
must be a really popular hour in Sweden for phoning your friends on Zoom. We'll come back to you in a second.
let
Bernie.
me let sure. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
just mute you
Okay,
for a
I'll be
second.
back.
You'll be back. I'll be back. Luckily, I've got two guests on, so I can go back and forth. So, Jan,
This is
tell us.
technology,
I know.
life these days.
Tell us a bit about what you usually do, like during the Christmas season, as a conductor and as somebody. I mean, you said your last name is Bosk, so you're originally from Garnica.
Guernica, yeah,
Garnica.
like
Tell us
Picasso's
about
painting.
Garnica. Yes, like Picasso's painting. You were saying.
Yeah, they bombed our town, and he painted that for like to remember the bombing of Guernica. Well, I mean, what do I do as a professional for Christmas? I guess I do the same as every other conductor. We do the Christmas concerts, often the Messiah, where we in Spain, they actually have this very interesting Messiah where they get together a lot of community choirs and they join a professional orchestra, and we do this mass choir Messiah. And that's promoted by a bank, the Caixa Bank. So they do that every year with quite a few orchestras in the country, actually. And that's a very good Christmas concert. And then the other concerts, Christmas Carol concert, New Year's concerts, and these kind of things. But in the Basque Country, we have tradition of carol singing. We carol sing a lot. There are a lot of choirs in the region, and we just sing. We sing at Christmas, we sing in New Year's, we go from home to home, asking for a bit of money, some donations to buy some candy. I used to do that as a child. So yeah, we sing quite a
What kind
bit.
of carols do you sing?
We sing Basque carols mainly. So at Christmas, we'd sing Olentero, because we have a Basque mythological character that comes at Christmas. We don't have Father Christmas or Santa. He lives in the woods, and he comes every year
What's his
with
name?
a Olentero. It's spelled Olentezero. You can Google it. Actually, there's a Wikipedia page for him. I didn't even know that there was one. So I've learned quite a lot this morning, because I was like, I'm probably going to say this and I don't even know what's about.
You're such a good conductor. You're so prepared. You came
Oh,
so
no.
prepared with your Christmas
Please.
stories.
So yeah, we sing Basque carols mainly. There are quite a few Basque carols, all in Basque and Basque tunes. A lot of them are quite sad and
So do you
know,
only sing
nostalgic.
these carols like there's Christmas themed, or are they carols that you sing year round and also sing at Christmas?
Not just for Christmas. Yeah, Christmas themed.
Do you wanna like maybe hum one of them to us?
Hmm.
No.
I should say, did I tell you this story about this conductor in Spain when I was working in the Liceo? No, not in the Liceo, in the Royal Theatre in Madrid.
Tell
He
us.
told me, you need to learn to say no. And ever since, I say no to everything. We were working with these incredible singers. Javier Camarena was singing the tenor part. Sonia Yoncheva was the soprano, so, top stars in the operatic world. And in one of the breaks, the tenor wanted to go through a cadenza. So I was in the conductor's room, and he said, let's go to Javier's room, because he wants to look at this cadenza. He's like, okay, let's go. And we was like, why am I going? And I said, should I call the repetiteur? The pianist is just here. I said, no, don't worry, we don't need her. He's like, okay, I'll come in. And then Javier says, is the pianist coming? And he's like, no, John will play. I was like, I'm a horn player. I didn't say this. I thought this in my brain. I was like, I'm a horn player. Should I say that I don't play piano? Well, I could play it if I practice. It's not that difficult. And he was convinced that I played the piano. So he's like, I can do this. So I sit on the piano and it's like, okay, I'll start. Well, it's like, clink, clunk, okay, it's chords, well, okay, and then this difficult passage comes like, oh, wrong key. It's like, oh, wrong note. It's like, The singer kept going. He sings the cadenza. We finished and was like, oh my God, I should have looked at this. But he got me on the spot. And we finished and was like, oh, I'm really sorry. And I was like, And he's like, "Are you a pianist?" I was like, "No, I'm a horn player." I was like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I was like, "Well, I didn't want to disappoint, so I played." And he
Well, we
said,
know. Yeah, we know
he,
you're not a singer. Sorry, finish your story.
"I'm not a singer," but then he said, "If you ever are asked to do anything, you have to do it with the right notes, but also with parfum." And parfum is this like musicality. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And ever since I don't do anything, they tell me, "Can you sing?" I was like, "I mean, I
Yeah,
could
but
sing,
you
but
got
with parfum." I was like, "Can I
private.
conduct?" I don't know if I do it with parfum. I don't know if I can do anything anymore. I'm
So,
frozen.
so our.
So I'll sing it
Okay.
for you anyway. So the tune goes like this. The Olentero tune goes like this. Not with parfum, but I'll try. So it's Olentero Juan Saigu mendira lanera intenzioarekin ikatzegitera. So basically, what the song is saying is that
Beautiful.
Olentero has gone to the mountain to make some charcoals, because that's what he does. And it's interesting because it's written in 5/8. And this is only interesting for musicians. It's a very Basque folklore rhythm. It's a sortiko, it's a dance. And it's written in 5/8 with 3 strong beats. So it's ta 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 ta. So
Ooh, that's
it's a
very
sortiko.
interesting. Very folky.
I think I've spoken enough. Just like give some time to Bernice.
Well, I actually have a few questions for both of you, but the first one comes from David A again, and he actually asked this in a Facebook comment earlier, and he's asking, Bernice, do Sweden and Malaysia have anything in common as far as Christmas is concerned, apart from your existence? I mean, that might be the only thing, because I mentioned that you're from Malaysia.
I really don't think so. I really, yeah, like it's so different. It's cold here, it's dark here, whereas in Malaysia it's always summer. Well, what is similar, but I guess it's in the whole world, is that it's people go crazy shopping during Christmas time.
In
So
Malaysia or
in
everywhere.
Malaysia as well as here,
Right.
there's a big frenzy to get Christmas gifts. But in Malaysia, I think all the malls are on sale, and people flock to the malls to see the decorations. And during this time in Malaysia, all the malls put up like crazy huge Christmas trees and decorations, and people go to the malls to have a look. Whereas I think in Scandinavian countries, they're not so into malls and
Right.
into big malls. Yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
us, you
But
were about. Oh, go on. You were
Yeah,
about to tell us about the thing
yeah.
behind you.
Yeah, so this is Advent, what they call Advent Justaka. It's Advent lights, and traditionally they're supposed to be candles, and you put them up like from the 1st of December, during the Advent period. And basically in Sweden, because it's dark most of the time in December, they kind of invented or kind of hijacked this saint. Invented this day called Lucia Day.
Oh
So
yeah,
so
the
on
Saint Lucia Day.
exactly. So
We
on
talked
December
about that in
13th.
our last live stream. And
Yeah.
it's December 13th, is it?
Yeah. So every December 13th, they celebrate Lucia Day. It's because, I mean, they kind of just hijacked it from Italy, because Lucia means light, and it's
Oh.
like the saint that brings light. So I kind of see Lucia as a sort of Santa, because I mean, Lucia and Santa, they're like they don't really have anything to do with the original Christmas, but it's like stuff that people kind of invented to make
To
these
make it more
times kind of
festive.
sort
So
of.
do they do anything
And
special on the day itself, on St. Lucia Day, that's different than,
yeah,
Christmas?
yeah. So on Lucia Day, it's kind of like a big pageant. Like all the schools, all like they all have, like they choose someone to be Lucia, and it's sort of like a pageant. And then and there's a Lucia train, and kids are dressed up in white robes, and they sing songs, Christmas songs and Lucia songs, and and it's a kind of tradition, like even in families, to wake up super early in the morning and then have a little Lucia train and singing Christmas songs and carrying candles, and I don't know if you've seen this really strange thing, but Lucia will have a kind of crown made of candles.
I have
And
seen that from
yeah.
American Girl books.
Okay.
Anyone
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
those? Do you know, I want to hear more about Sweden Christmas and all the rest, but we have a few questions, and I have one for both of you because this is really interesting. It just highlights the difference of where we're all living. We have a question which is, what have you been able to do? Let's see, have you been able to be productive musically during COVID? And I know that has a lot to do with the country rules and where you're living. So maybe Jan can talk a little bit about this, but Bernice, maybe you can talk about how that's been in Sweden, working as a musician and the government policies and stuff.
So do I go first?
Well, either one. Go ahead, Jan.
Have I been productive at home? It's been quite difficult actually, because usually you prepare for a concert, but with COVID, with everything being cancelled, especially in the UK, it's been quite difficult. So I've taken up other things to do. So I've learned French, because I know some French, but when you conduct French operas, you should be able to rehearse in French. So I've been learning French. I've been improving my piano skills so that I can play with Parfum. Yeah, that sort of thing. Like, keep training your ears. That's something that you have to keep working on for your lifetime. But I haven't been doing much of score study, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
Because I start without having a goal.
Explain to our audience what score study is, because just so you guys are aware, not everyone here will be that familiar with classical music, so they won't know even.
Well, score studies.
Score is perhaps.
Well, the score is the piece of paper where you can see what the entire orchestra is playing at one time. Mm-hmm. So you have everything, all the information you need to conduct a symphony orchestra, let's say. So what you basically do is you prepare for that first rehearsal at home, and that's the longest period of preparation. You could spend years, months preparing
and what kind of
one
stuff do you
symphony.
do to prepare?
Well, first you analyze the piece harmonically, melodically. You do historic research. When was it written? Why was it written? What was the composer going through at that time?
Usually, I remember when I lived with you, you'd always be checking out all these like PhD theses on Brahms when you were conducting Brahms. I mean, your research is really extensive at the conductor, isn't it? I mean, you really have to be a specialist in that.
Well, unless you want to do the research yourself, you have to use somebody else's work. So if the research is done already for you, it saves quite a bit of money. Sometimes that research is not done for you. So then you have to do the actual research and take information from different sources and build a picture that informs your performance. So just to create your own creation, but with information, so that it can sustain.
I think it's really interesting for people because a lot of people don't always understand what a conductor does, because they just see the guy who's standing there.
Yeah.
With your elegant perfume arms waving around.
Well, and often it's also difficult for the orchestras to understand what we do, because you get to the first rehearsal and you can't really explain what you've done to prepare this piece of music. You just conduct and try to transmit to them the information, but you're actually giving the end result of all the research you've done and all the preparation. So hopefully the audience will get the essence of the music or the spirit through your conducting. But we rarely explain the music verbally. We try to communicate that through our gestures. So it's much quicker, so that the orchestras we can put a concert together in 2 or 3 days. And sometimes even with one rehearsal. So you have to be able to be effective with your gestures so that the information is out there instantly.
And Bertie, so tell us, because you work with a lot of conductors. How has that been? Tell us just about how the musical experience has been in Sweden during COVID in the opera.
Yeah, sure. But I actually want to say something about this score study because I actually always feel like I should be studying the score way more. And it's something that I feel really kind of I don't feel like I'm doing that enough. And so I kind of a lot of times when I practice my parts for orchestra, for opera or symphonies, after learning the music, my own parts, I would go through it with and practice it with the recording on headphones, and I find that really helps me to hear the other parts. But then a lot of times I still have to look at the score to see exactly what they're doing, like and for the beats. So and I can't imagine what a conductor like really has to know everything.
I know, it's amazing. Yeah. It really
well,
is.
I guess it's easier for us to do because we often have more time for preparation, whereas an orchestral player is playing weekly and you're rehearsing almost every day of the week. So practically it's quite difficult for you to find time to do all that work. Obviously, you learn your part and you are aware of cues from other instruments and what they're playing at the same time and who you have to be listening to at each moment. But you know, if it's a repertoire piece that you've played several times, then you know the piece better. But if something that you're playing for the first time is quite difficult and quite understandable that you don't have the time to go through every score and every piece that you play.
Stuff that's going on in Sweden. So we never had a lockdown per se.
Oh,
so
wow.
And the opera house, when things started going south here, it was in like March. So so in March they kind of closed the opera house down, and we weren't doing so very much, but
Were you still rehearsing?
No, but we actually did some live streaming things.
Cool.
And the problem with like opera house is that there's just so many more moving parts and it's so much more complicated.
Tell us about some of those parts, because a lot of people might not know what's
so for
involved
example, in Stockholm there are two other orchestras. There's the Royal Stockholm Philharmonic, as well as the Radio Symphony, and throughout the entire time they were streaming concerts really regularly, almost weekly. But for us, we kind of had to almost grind to an almost halt, because with the opera you have the chorus, you have the soloists, you have the ballet, and of course we all know that there's quite a lot more risk when it comes to singing. I think everyone has heard all the super spreader events when it comes to choirs. So so actually this fall we made really huge changes to the programs. So we were supposed to do things like La Traviata,
which is an opera by Verdi, right? That has a huge cast with lots of
and Carmen, or I think La Traviata, I think it's next is coming up in the spring. Rigoletto and things like that. And so what they did is that we used just really a lot reduced orchestra versions.
And you still had the singers perform on stage, and
well, I think we had maybe like 2 performances of Carmen, and then it got all canceled again. But really very reduced version. So not the normal.
Did they do anything in the hall to like keep the audience away? Was it all live streamed? Tell us about that, because I think it's interesting.
Yeah, so for a really long time, for a while, the regulation here was, I think, 500 in the audience for a while, until I don't remember when, maybe August or something. And then they reduced it to 50. So we actually opened the house for 50 in the audience. So that was very like kind of strange. It
Wow.
it felt like a like we were having a rehearsal.
Speaking of which, I'm
And how
gonna
big is the
just
hall? Sorry.
I'm gonna quickly interrupt you because we have a special unannounced guest who's about to join us, and I think she'll have some interesting things to say along the lines of you, Bernice, because of situations of performing to small audiences and all of the rest. So we're gonna add her on and introduce her right now. Rochelle, can you hear us?
Hi, Rochelle.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi, everyone.
welcome.
Hi.
Rochelle
Hi,
and
Nice to
Bernice
see you.
know each other. Let me just do a quick introduction. I'm so glad we could have this last minute guest join us. This is Rochelle Hunt. Rochelle is a fantastic violinist who lives in Frankfurt, Germany, and plays with the Frankfurt Radio Symphony, one of the most renowned orchestras in the world, in fact. And it is just such a delight to have her here. I know Rochelle since the 8th grade, actually. We're both from McLean, Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C. And I actually think this possibly may be our 1 year anniversary of when we were rehearsing for our 2 duo concerts we did last year, Rochelle. Do you remember? I think we either started rehearsing on December 17th or 18th.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's just crazy.
That was crazy.
The world we're living in. So welcome. Thanks so much for joining us, Rochelle.
My pleasure. Nice to
And
see you all.
Yes, Rochelle,
meet
meet
you.
Jan. Jan is a conductor.
Jan,
You
I've heard a lot about you. Nice to see you.
Me too. Nice to meet you finally.
And
Same.
Rochelle, I think the last time I saw you was in like 2010, right?
Yeah,
In
I think it was
Castleton.
in IU or no, yeah, Castleton. Exactly.
Castleton,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my
Yeah, I
2010.
think so.
Crazy.
Crazy.
So Rochelle, tell us about, because Bernice has just been talking about what it's been like in Sweden, working during COVID, and working with an opera and stuff. Tell us what it's been like in Germany and in your orchestra and all the rest.
Yeah, so I heard some of what Bernice said, and we also had a similar situation, except we did have a lockdown. The second week of March, we went into full lockdown in Germany, although it wasn't as strict as in some other countries. And we suddenly had everything canceled. The week of the lockdown, we were supposed to have a big European tour with Conscious and the Musikverein in Vienna. We were going all over it. I remember just 3 days before they're like, yeah, we're still going. And I was, no. And then everything was canceled. And it took them about 2 weeks, because April 1st, then we launched an online concert series that was 5 times a week. As far as I know, the only organization in the world that had regular things. We had 5 days a week concerts streamed online.
Wow.
Yeah.
From April 1st until the end of June. Actually, my group, the Atlantic String Duo, with my colleague who plays a violin viola, we played in the very first concert. And
Yeah, I saw that concert. It was incredible. I mean, you've
Thank
played
you.
in a lot of the chamber music concerts. There was tons of those streamed, right?
Yeah.
Because of social distancing. Like, usually when you play in a huge symphony orchestra or an opera, and Bernice, you can talk about that a bit too, you sit quite near each other, don't you? And it's so conducive for making music. so-
Exactly. And the German rules were 2 people in one room. So at first we had to start with duos. And our orchestra, our job, of course, we play chamber music, but the job is not to play chamber music. So since I play regularly duos, they asked us to play the first one. And we had to measure. They have this giant stick. And they measured that we were 1.5 meters from each other, or maybe even more, just to be extra safe.
You can count on the Germans to be really precise with their measurements,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And because we're talking about Christmas traditions in this fireside chat, I mean, I want to get back to Bernice actually as well, because I know you were maybe going to tell us a bit about some Swedish folk music. But Rochelle, can you just tell us a little bit what Christmas traditions are like in Germany, and what musical Christmas traditions you've experienced since you've lived in Germany, which is how many years? How many years have you lived in Germany now?
12 years, more than 12
Wow,
years.
and
Wow.
it's the place
Yeah.
you've lived longer than anywhere else, isn't it?
Yes, I've lived in Frankfurt the longest of any city in my entire life, including in McLean, in Virginia. So here, there's a lot of musical traditions that just even regular Germans do. The 4 Sundays before Christmas are called the Advent, and people go to church. They light candles. There's lots of music in the churches. And I usually, there's lots of extra concerts. So for the freelancers and also me, I usually play in churches. Although I'm fortunate to have a job, and I now, if it's too cold, I usually don't do it. But so as a student, I did a lot of like New Year's and Christmas Eve concerts in which you have to wear gloves with the fingers cut out because it's so cold.
Wow.
Because the old,
Wow.
huge Catholic churches are not heated.
Yeah.
And so here, almost every orchestra has a New Year's concert. Christmas, we don't do so much. We have maybe some concerts with works that are more traditional, but yeah, we do a New Year's concert every year, which is really popular.
And what kind of music do you play in that? In
We
the New Year's
play,
concert?
you know, compared to, I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the US, around Christmas, everyone plays Handel's Messiah. Everyone plays the Nutcracker. No, we don't do that here. I've actually never played the complete Nutcracker, I'm probably the only American musician
Crazy.
who has never done that.
I think Bernice and I have played it together probably like 15 times plus.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
two
love
of
At
us,
IU.
the same production. And Evansville.
Rochelle, Rochelle, what
Yeah.
are you? So what is your orchestra doing this year?
So this
with New
year,
Year?
Unfortunately, we had to cancel our New Year's concert because, so the way the music world works is we present, or at least my orchestra, we present sometimes our own concerts, and sometimes we get booked by other venues or other presenters to play. And the New Year's concert is booked by somebody else every year, and they canceled. So, yeah, we just won't have anything. And as kind of a replacement, the brass are playing, I believe tonight. Actually, they're doing a live stream with holiday brass music. So
I'll have to put a
Yeah.
link. I've put a link to some stuff in this description for the event, but I have to put a link on our page to the Frankfurt Radio Symphony and the Swedish Opera and Jan's
Yeah.
page. And I know PCO stuff isn't up yet, but maybe Solihull. We haven't talked about Solihull, Jan, where you're artistic director.
Yeah.
Are they doing anything this Christmas?
We're not doing anything. We haven't been doing anything since March.
Wow.
We had a concert at the beginning of March, and that was our last concert. So
And-
ever since, nothing.
Of course, I was supposed to perform the Brahms double with you last June. And
I
we're
hope we do
hoping-
it.
We're
It's been
hoping on
postponed.
this summer.
I know. We're hoping this July, at the beginning of July, we'll be able to do it finally.
Yeah,
We're hoping to do a concert in March, but
we'll see.
I mean, unless that vaccine is doing miracles, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because, up north has been quite grim since March in the UK. We've been either on tier 3 or lockdown where, shows cannot go ahead with an audience or anything like that. So
Yeah, we know all about that up here.
it's
man.
been quite hard. Yeah.
I just want to, we're getting near the end of our little hour here, and I'm really curious to see if Bernice wants to talk to us about some Swedish Christmas music,
Well,
perhaps?
yeah, I was talking about Lucia, and I guess yeah, Lucia. There's a song that everyone everyone sings, and all the kids sing. But actually, Jon, you were talking about your song was about the sort of Santa that comes by to bring the
monster.
gifts.
Yeah.
And the Swedish guys are these guys. Oh, sorry. Oh, I can't. These guys.
Oh,
they're
look
like
at that.
gnomes.
How are they called?
super cute.
They're called Yule Tomte, and they're little gnomes, and also like garden,
Yeah.
garden spirits, sort of.
Oh, they're
But-
beautiful.
Yeah, a long time ago, they used to be the Christmas goats that brings the presents,
Mhm.
called the Julebocken. And now, these little guys.
That's so cute.
So they don't have Santa either. They have those gnomes that come.
Now they also have Santa because of
Because they
American
globalized,
culture,
right.
but yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Santa is global.
Okay.
But here's the Santa Lucia song. I didn't finish it, but
Lovely.
That's
It's
beautiful.
so beautiful. I've never heard either of those tunes, the one you sang
Oh,
in
really?
or the one you've played. I don't think so. It's beautiful though.
it's actually
What-
Italian. But as I said, yeah, the Swedish kind of hijacked the Italian.
What's the
Sing.
name of this song? Just the Saint Lucia song?
Yeah, exactly. Santa in Italian, I guess it's Santa Lucia, but
Santa
it's
Lucia.
yeah. In Swedish, yeah, Santa
And,
Lucia. Yeah.
I didn't warn Rochelle that she might get put on the spot with this, so no pressure at all. But Rochelle, you don't have to play, but do you have a favorite like German Christmas carol? There's some music from Germany that you've heard more in Germany maybe than you have before in your life. I know there's a lot of German traditions that came across to America, but is there a song you don't have to? You can sing a little if you want, but you don't have to.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I do this project where I go in the kindergartens here. So I guess the equivalent in America would be a daycare. And I teach them, I show them instruments and stuff. And always around Christmas, we do all these Christmas songs. But the problem is, little kids, Christmas songs are really different then. So
Right.
Twinkle Twinkle is actually a Christmas song in Germany.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
And yeah, they have songs about Santa. I forget them at the moment because I didn't, due to COVID, I didn't do the project this year. But I think Silent Night is really pretty in German also. I think it's originally a German. And there's just lots of carols that are only in German that are also quite beautiful.
And are they
Yeah.
new? Are they new to you that you didn't know them before you lived in Germany?
Yeah, I would say like around half of them are the same, like Silent Night. I don't know what else. A lot of the ones that are older, more traditional, and of course they know things like Jingle Bells. But for example, they don't know, what was one? Joy to the World. People don't know here,
yeah.
for
oh, weird.
example.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's by Handel, actually. I was talking about
Maybe
that
because
yesterday.
when he lived in UK or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have that here either. No
I
joy
just
to the
want to
world.
get in a last couple of questions because I'm getting all of the comments in on my stream here, and we're broadcasting on 3 different places. First of all, David A., who's a huge supporter of Semi Brief, has said, "Thank you very much, Katie, Alva, Bernice, Jan, and Rochelle. It's so interesting to hear about lots of different aspects of music and Christmas too. So thank you so much, David." And David also asks, "What is the? This is just back to Malaysia for a second, Bernice. Is there a main date of celebration for Christmas in Malaysia?
I would say-
or is it...
Yeah, I would say that Christians go to church on Christmas Day itself. I know Christians in a lot of other parts of the world, they would go to church on Christmas Eve.
Right.
But yeah,
But
they
so
celebrate.
it's December 25th. And in Germany, Rochelle, is it what's the kind of like biggest day of Christmas? Is it the 25th or is it
The 24th.
the night before?
No,
The
the 24th
24th.
at night. People have, they might go to church. They have a big family dinner, and the celebration is 24th, and the 25th is, depending on your family, resting because it can be quite a lot of alcohol depending on your
Digesting,
family.
yeah.
And
Nursing a
yeah,
hangover.
yeah, and they have 2 days of Christmas. So the 25th is the first day of Christmas, and the 26th, I guess it's called Boxing Day in UK,
yeah,
is also a holiday here. It's called the second day of Christmas, and that's just for maybe visiting other relatives or resting and
Cool.
their holidays. It's a holiday here. So.
And Jan, what about in the Basque region? Is it the
Well,
same?
all over Spain, I think we have quite a few. So Christmas Eve is a big dinner, family dinner, and then we do another family dinner on Christmas Day as well. Then we have New Year's Eve, when we eat 12 grapes in
Done that.
the middle of the night. It's just a test. You know, if you pass that test, you don't choke on it, you are allowed to go to the following year. So you can see the grandmother trying to eat 1 grape each second for each month. It's like going red. It's like, oh my God. And then we have that on the night. So that's previous to that, we do a big dinner, and then on New Year's Day, again a big New Year's Day meal, or at lunchtime, and then we have the Three Kings, and that's a holiday as well. That's the 6th of January. 6th of January. And they bring presents as well, so we have double presents. We have Olentero, and then the Three Kings. They come on the night of the 5th. They leave their presents. We open them on the 6th, and then we have a big family meal for lunch. But that's a holiday as well, the 6th.
So
ever since I've moved away from Spain, I've not been able to celebrate the Three Kings, because everywhere else they start working by the 4th or whenever.
I'll celebrate with you, Jan.
But actually in Sweden it's similar. They start they start celebrating from the 1st of December all the way until actually the 13th of January. And that day, so the 6th is called Trettondags, that like the 13th day or 12th night sort of, and then the week after is called Sjugondedag Knut. And
do you have actually a parade with the Three Kings coming on the streets with presents, or you don't do that?
I have not seen that, unfortunately.
Okay.
But there's lots of concerts. There's Epiphany concerts, and then there's also a concert on the 20th day. So
wow.
And that's when you take down all your stuff. So you put the stuff on the 1st of December, and then you take it down on the 20th day after Christmas.
Wow, that is
that's supposedly
you need.
They have something like that here too. They have 6. So from the end of November, the 4th Sunday is the first Advent, and that's where you start all this stuff here. So already end of November, and the Christmas market's open. Exactly, and then December 6th is Nikolaus Tag, and kids get chocolate in their shoes or rocks or coal if they're bad. And then you have Martinsgans, I forget which day it is, maybe 12th or something, and you eat a goose. And then you have all the days, and then also the 6th of by the 6th of January you should put your tree on the curb too, so it gets collected. I think something like that.
So funny. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me today and being part of the Semi-Brief Festival. It's been really great and so much fun. We are out of time. We're actually over time, so well done. I mean, I bet some of you didn't think you could chat about stuff this long, but you did. And I was thinking it would be really nice as a sign off if everyone can say Merry Christmas in one of the languages they speak. So Merry Christmas, Jan.
Soriona que te urte berrion.
Bernice.
圣诞快乐.
Rochelle.
Frohe Weihnachten.
Yay! Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Nice to see you.